afternoon. We're in the workshop again. We're making a start on the spring vegetable garden, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, even though we got, I don't know how many feet of snow outside, and it still keeps snowing, and it's still, a couple of days have been mild. Last night was -10. Night before was actually -20, so it's bouncing around all over the place at the moment. But it's time to start thinking about vegetables in the new garden. We've got it planned out pretty well in our minds. We haven't put it to paper quite yet.
Well, no, Gary's got it sorted out in his mind,
Yeah.
which keeps changing on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, that's why there's no point in putting it on paper yet. I don't want to put it on paper until we've made our minds up. So we're getting there. But we're going to do some raised beds. I think we've said we're going to do 3 or 4. I think it was 3 or 4
so,
we're going to make.
yeah.
And all the raised beds that we're making are actually going to have permanent covers on them as well. So early part of the year, it'll be poly to warm the soil up so we can get some stuff going early. And then once everything warms up, we'll be taking the poly off and they'll all have insect netting on them. So it'll be typically for anything that we want to grow vegetable-wise that are just a pain to grow because of the bugs. So we're trying to keep out the aphids, the caterpillars, carrot root fly. And with the 4 beds, we can rotate what we put in those beds each year. So
what would you put into these raised beds with the poly lids on for early?
I would be nice to get some peas going early because they will tolerate some colder weather early in the season. I'd like to get the strawberries out as soon as I can, to get them going, to give them a really nice long season. Maybe some early lettuce. Although we have lettuce indoors, once the weather starts warming up, they become more of a challenge to keep growing nicely indoors. They're better off planted outside.
So how much earlier is the benefit of doing this? So,
For us, I reckon we can probably gain 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
It's more the sowing. I can sow stuff much earlier in situ. I don't have to transplant. So even carrots, if I wanted to, I could do some early carrots. Well, typically the carrots do like a bit of warmth in the ground first. The other crops I've mentioned, they're not quite so fussy. So construction and material. My material of choice will always be cedar. We've done them with pressure treated in the past, and everybody gets all panicky about pressure treated and about the treatment in them. We've done pressure treated raised beds in the past, pressure treated cold frames, and I've never had any problems. But here we're actually using white cedar, rough sawn white cedar. Now I get it locally. This is a true 2-inch thick. So it's true 2 inches, rough sawn. So these are actually 2 by 8. And that's all we're going to do. We're not going to go any higher than 8 inches. And the dimension of the actual each bed is going to be 8 foot long by 4 foot wide. Again, most economic use of the material. So I buy these in rough sawn 8 foot. They come a little bit over so I can trim both ends. I have no wastage. And then obviously the 4 foot, I just chop them in half. Very, very little wastage. The cost of material nowadays, you can't afford to. So 4 by 8, and 4 by 8 is a nice distance across the reach as well. With these covers that we're putting on these, you'll only be able to access them from one side, and you'll see why in a minute. So I've joined 3 of these sides together. I joined all 4 together actually, and then Julie told me to take it apart.
It's supposed to how-to video.
Oh, it's a how-to apparently. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show you how to join 2 pieces of wood together, just to keep the film crew happy. So I'm using GRK fasteners. I like these things. They're expensive, but I do like them. They hold super, super strong. They pull things in super tight. You could use long deck screws. So these are GRKs 3.5s. I have pre-drilled these. Actually, I've already screwed it together once. So pre-drill them just to make sure they don't split. And like I say, these things pull everything together really tight. 4 by 8, and then once you've made that, make sure it's squared up. You could use a set square or a framing square. I have a framing square here somewhere, but it's okay. A framing square and a set square is okay on a short distance. These are quite long. So just literally you bung them in the corner and you can see that's nice and square. But my preferred method is to put the tape on one corner, measure across the other corner, take that measurement, and then do the same on the other corner. I got it. It's not going anywhere. Now, I already made this. So once I had the base built, I just literally cut everything.
So what dimension is this?
Let me think. Perhaps this is 4x8 as well.
I meant the wood.
Oh, I see.
Gary. Oh my goodness. So the dimensions of the lid, the wood that you use on the lid, Gary.
I've used 2 inch by 2 inch. And basically all I did was I just ripped through some of my true 2x8s. So there's your 2x8, and I'm just ripping 2 inch pieces through. Now I'm fortunate I've got the tools, I've got the equipment. Julie was just off camera. We were just saying, well, what can people use? If, say for instance, you decide to use pressure treated. So if you're going to use 2x8 pressure treated, you could use 2x4s for the lid. It'll be a little heavy.
And you'd use that on its edge?
Yeah, you would use that on its edge. Exactly. Yeah, it would make a nice heavy lid. And then make sure, again, you put your bracing in the corners because you must keep it square. Otherwise, when you start lifting it, it's going to wobble all over the place. And this is going to be on a hinge. So the hinges aren't on at the moment. This cedar is so light. It really is nice and light. So it's going to make a really nice lid. But yeah, like I said, you have to shop around and see what you can get. There is cedar available. And with cedar, it's obviously going to last a long time, as is pressure treated as well. So some of the bits and pieces, I think this is all plastic conduit. We have some tees. You'll see what all this is for in a minute. I have pre-drilled these. So each one has been pre-drilled. Again, you will see in a minute why.
And what's the diameter of these?
Well, whatever it will fit the pipe on.
Oh.
These, whatever the pipe fitting is, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
The pipe fits inside these little ends. So this is 3/4. Again, pre-drilled. Now I should have bought 6. I only bought 4. I don't know why. Anyway, brain fart. And
Getting
then,
old.
yeah, screws to screw them in with. Again, you'll see in a minute. 2 hinges. These are 4 nice big 4-inch hinges. May have got away with 3-inch. But because I'm using a 2x2, I figured this was better. The little end caps sit right in the corners. It's got a convex bottom and it just wobbles around.
It's got a curved bottom.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say curved bottom? I don't know about that. It's a bit risky.
Get Julie.
Because I got to put a screw in here in a minute. I can't say that.
Well,
I cannot say that. No, I could. Anyway, I'm just gonna just slowly take out a little bit. I'm not trying to take out too much. That's all it needs. And if Julie comes around the corner, when you're putting the lid, the top together, make sure that you put your 2 screws either side of the center, because we have to put a screw down there in a minute to hold this in place, and you don't want to be banging into these. So put your screws both sides. So the middle one, I needed 2 more ends, and I don't know, I forgot, didn't pick them up, miscalculated for some reason. So all I'm going to do now is just with this spade bit, just drill the same, but drill a little deeper. And I'm hoping that'll just hold the pipe in place for now. And then when we switch from poly to net, I'll just put in the 2 ends in place. So I've screwed my bottom in place.
Nice, Gary.
Now I know. Don't over tighten your screw on this. You will crack these this plastic.
What you got there, Gary?
What I got here? I've got rigid, non-metallic conduit, above ground and underground, scheduled 40 PVC. Do I need to go on?
No.
Okay.
And it was 3/4 inch.
Yeah, I think pretty sure it's 3/4 inch. So now my bottoms are put in place. We're going to bend this piece of conduit. So if Julie holds one end.
It's a good job us women are good at multitasking.
Yeah. The ceiling's not high enough. Hold on.
Bend your end,
I've
Gary.
got to bend my end.
There we go.
So that's one end. Now get back out of the way, please, in case it goes. I don't want it smacking you in the face. So one end is in. Ooh, God. And then the other end is in. That's going to be nice and tall for the old brassicas, isn't it? Geez, we better grow some sprouts in there. Whopping great sprouts.
Now, looking at the size of that, I mean, that is tall.
Yeah, it looks very tall, but don't forget we're a good 10 inches off the ground because we're on the crates.
Yeah.
And yes, it does look very tall, and we were thinking we make them shorter. But the thing is, we are going to be growing brassicas and sprouts in some of these eventually. And sprouts, we've grown sprouts 4 foot tall by the time we're harvesting in the November.
Yeah, they get
so we
really
need
big.
the height. And a lot of our brassicas, our kale and and cabbage and broccoli, that's the one, yeah, and broccoli, even that can get up to 3 feet tall. So the actual lengths of conduit are 10 foot long. I forgot to tell you that. And then all I have to do is just cut this end off, because obviously normally that would go on to the next piece of conduit. We don't want that, so just chop that off. Keep it. Might be useful for something one day. Let's get the other end in place.
Come on, strong man.
You see how strong I am. It's like being at the gym. So that one, obviously, in there. As I said, while you're bending this, don't have anybody in the line of fire, because if it did break, it could easily take somebody's eye out.
Told you he was getting old and a bit senile. Oh, sorry. There you go.
So in my excitement to get my pipe into my bottoms, I forgot to put the elbows in. And these are inch. Sorry, these are inch. There we go. So I have to put three of these on. Again, you will see why later. One. Now I'll do the other ones. Oh, they're all back there. Can you get them for me?
Sure.
So 1, 2, 3. Throw them over, out the way, and then put this back again. So that, once it's bent once, it actually bends a lot easier. And then repeat at the other end. 2, 3. And then pop this back in. So yeah, I did forget to buy 6 of the bottoms. So I have drilled the wood. I think it's deep enough. It'll do for now. I'm just hoping it'll sit in place. And then bend it down again like we've been doing with all the others.
And you are going to get a couple more and replace them?
Yeah, I will replace these.
Yeah.
I think that'll be all right once we put the other pieces across. It'll stop it moving around. So you need to find center at the ends. So just measure across, find your center mark, 2 feet, got a mark there at the bottom, spirit level. Take a spirit level up until you got your spirit level.
So that's on your mark.
It's on the mark and pull this over. No, it's not. So just keep adjusting till you get level and then move your center line a couple marks. So that one is in the center right there. So through your pre-drilled hole, bingo, it's in there. So now we've got the 2 end pieces screwed in place. We should put that one there, and that one.
Over the top of the middle.
And then over the top of the middle one. Don't do as I say. What's the saying?
Don't do as I do. Do as I
that's
say.
Right, yeah. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Don't forget to push one over the other side because I got all 2 of them the wrong side. So I'm just going to flick that one down there and put this one in the right place.
Redo it.
So the middle one just gets a zip tie. Just make sure you've got your 2 upright, your middle uprights upright, which I don't think they look too bad.
No,
at the end of the day, I mean, it's going to have poly on it. You won't see it. And just a zip tie around here, holding it in place, making sure that the bit you tighten is at the bottom so it's not cutting into the poly. So 2 8-inch zip ties, nice and tight. We'll stop that moving. Next we have the center purlins, if you can call them purlins. Just measure up. I've gone up 30 inches. Okay, so we're 30 inches up, and we're just going to screw that in place, I hope. Oh, that wasn't bad for left-handed. Same at t'other end. Then it's the same, 30 inches. Try and make sure that you're facing down the direction of the opposite end. So that one's pretty good, actually. So use what you've already built to measure the 2 purlins. So make sure it goes up tight against the upright. And just use the upright just as a guide, square as you can. I wasn't initially going to put a screw in here, but it just popped apart on us. So we were thinking the poly will hold it in place eventually, which it will. But we're going to pop a screw in. If you're going to put a screw in on the bottom, not the top, so that there's nothing rough rubbing on the poly or the insect netting you're going to put in. And this stuff's so soft, it's ever so easy to drill forward. That's better. There we go. Nice.
Take it out.
I'll take it out my mouth. Zip tie in the middle just to hold it up in place because it's dropping a little. I'm not going to over tighten it for now. I just want to hold it up.
That's better.
Roughly. Cameraman says that's level-ish. It'll do for now.
Apparently I don't have a straight eye.
No, she's not got the straightest eye. That's pretty well it for the actual framework. So I'm going to cut off the little bits of zip tie. And like I said, make sure you put the tightening part inside. You don't want that stuck up so that it's going to break the poly, make holes in the poly. So I've got one more on here to trim off. And as we said, this looks pretty high. And yeah, it is because of the crops we want to grow in it. You don't have to make it this high if you don't want to. But by putting 4 of these in the garden, it gives us the opportunity to rotate the crops. So we can do brassicas one year, we can put peas in there the next year. We could then go into root crops the year after and then back to brassicas again.
So you take really the height of the largest,
yeah,
the highest crop that you need.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, sprouts, You know, we've grown sprouts nearly 4 foot high.
Mm.
So they, in something like this, what I would do is I would plant the sprouts right 2 rows down the middle. And then I would plant something shorter on the outsides. You could even plant something like carrots down the very outside because you could harvest them before the sprouts are ready. But this, obviously, once this has got the bug netting on it, it'll keep everything out. We won't have any problems with caterpillars. We won't have no aphids in there. You know, the list goes on of bugs and nasties that are around nowadays. And then obviously the net will stay on all year round. And then it'll be polyed for the winter. Every winter we'll make sure they've all got poly on them so that they do warm up a little bit earlier. And then the poly obviously will stop the net getting damaged. Right, next, on my knees again, hinges. 4-inch hinges, whatever you can find, hardware store.
And what distance is it from the end?
14, I'm right, 14 inches. I don't think it matters that much. 2 inches, 2 inches. 2 will be enough on this. Don't need one in the middle. And again, it's not fine cabinetry, so. But make sure you put your hinges on before you put the poly on, because your strapping that's going to hold the poly down is going to be in the way otherwise. So I've already rough cut the poly. I'm using white. I guess normally I would probably use clear. If this was already in the garden ready for the spring, I'd be using clear. But I'm going to use white because these, we can't put these in the garden at the moment. Obviously, we have 4 or 5 foot of snow out there. So I'm actually going to use them for some of my greenhouse plants. I'm going to bring some primula and a few other odds and ends out and utilize these outside on the driveway. And if I put clear poly on there, it'll get too hot. So I'm going to bring a few bits out. I'm actually going to pot some stuff up from in the polytunnel, and then I'm going to put it in here. I don't want it growing really quickly. I just want a little bit of protection from the worst of the weather. So that's one of the reasons for using the white. It's not going to stay on. Whether I take it off for the start of the vegetable growing season or not, I don't quite know yet. We'll have to wait and see what the weather does. If the weather does what it normally does here, that we have a week of spring, and then instantly it goes to summer where we're suddenly hitting 80, 85 degrees, the white poly will be better. It won't heat up quite so much. So we're going to pull this over. Like I said, I've rough cut it. The ends are always a challenge. So you've just got to try and just pop it in, tuck it in as best you can. When putting the strapping in to hold this down, just remember to fix it to the hinged lid. Don't drop it down too low that it fixes to the bottom. I know that might sound like, oh, well, that's common sense, but it's easy to forget, sometimes easy to do. So this end's actually folded up pretty nice. The other end's got a loose bit at the top of one of the sides. So we're just going to unscrew that one and then just tighten it up. And then that's the 2 ends dealt with. It's easier if you do have 2 people just to hold the other end. And again, this doesn't have to be drum tight. Once you've got one end on, it's a lot easier. And then I'm just going to come and work my way along, just trying to pull it a little tight as I go. To keep a little bit of tension on it, I don't want it. Just check that we're still screwing into the right place. Now, if this was going to be on here for the whole summer, I would actually wrap this poly around here. It holds better. But as this is just going to be on here for a couple of months, there's actually no need to do that. And I'm using, again, if you're going to leave it on, you don't need to use screws. You could always nail it on. As for the battens, I'm using larch, again, because I have larch. I have to pre-drill this because it is so hard. But I mean, you could use any strips of wood that you've got. Strapping.
I was going to say
Yeah, strapping is okay, but it's spruce, pine, so it won't last very long outside. This larch would last forever, but I have to pre-drill it. Yeah, yuck. You come to help. Need you helping? Yeah, not really, is it? Yeah, you're not a very good helper. You. Done. So the only thing left now is just to trim off the excess poly. And I would suggest leaving a little bit. So don't trim it off tight to the bottom of your batten. So leave 3 or 4 inches. Just so the water runs down, it runs over. And it goes down into the ground out of the way. And also then if it does, you do need to adjust it slightly and tighten it up. You've got a bit of poly to grab hold of. Right, we're finished. It's obviously it's not sitting very well on the snow, but I don't really care at the moment. It's outside. So hinge lid, it's ever so light. It really is easy to lift. I'm gonna figure out some stuff to some attachments for the end so that it won't go back too far when you open it up, but I'm not worried doing that now today. But yeah, 4x8, nice size for a raised bed. You should be able to reach in from one side to pick anything. So this is going to sit here now, remove a bit of the snow, put some black Mypex in, and then I can put some plants out here. Gives them a little bit of protection from the worst of the snow. It's not going to give them anything from the cold, but I'm not worried about that. It's more the wet and damp that we've got coming up. Melt some of this snow once it warms up a little bit and fill it up with some plants, and it'll do nicely for now. Going to make another one pretty quickly, get 2 out here, and the plan is, as we said, we're going to do 4 in total. But yeah, nice and light, be really nice and light for Julie, because Julie will be the one who's opening these things up regularly when she's picking all the vegetables. And I don't think the wind will lift it. What I might do is I might just put a little catch of something, or a piece of rope, and just a little something at the bottom, just in case the wind would try and get in there. But I don't think it will. But yeah, I mean, it's turned out okay.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Nice and taut.
Nice and tight, yeah. So the snow's going to fall off of that quite easily. The snow's not going to build up. I mean, and it's not going to stretch either. It was warm in the workshop. The poly is fairly tight. But yeah, so yeah, quite pleased with that. And another 3 to make. So until next time, please like and subscribe. My dog's being silly. What? Anyway, till next time, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch up with you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.
Goodbye.